We live, baby. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Rule of Two. Mark, what's going on, dude? What's new?
Oh man,
Oh
I've
man,
had a I've had a
I've had a
good
good
chill
chill
weekend.
weekend.
Been it's Empire Day. It's Empire Day month in Star Wars Galaxies. So we've been celebrating Empire Day. And if you guys aren't familiar with Empire Day is actually part of like the Legends lore or what used to be the extended universe, which is kind of like uh, it's kind of like I don't know, like the Fourth of July or something. But basically, it's the day that Emperor Palpatine announced that the Republic was becoming an empire.
Yeah, you were showing me that
Uh,
with Vader showing up and everything, and yeah, it was
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of like playing through that, and like there's a bunch of really cool Empire Day rewards and stuff like that. So it's a month long holiday, and yeah, that Call of Duty,
What's going on, chat?
you know,
Chat buzzing.
quarantining, chat's
Oh
buzzing.
yeah, we got 1,000 of you guys. So we're done with the Duel of the Fates script. So today we're gonna talk about some news. Go back to the regular old content. We're gonna be getting a very big guest for you guys coming soon. Hopefully in July sometime. We're working on that. And yeah, man, things are good. Things are good. What's going on with you guys,
Yeah,
chat?
yeah. We've confirmed a really big guest at the beginning of July. We don't want to say who it is yet
Just in case it falls
because
through or something, you never know. But
yeah,
um,
Theory's gonna make another video once we get it all locked in, asking you guys for
yeah,
questions.
just like I did for
But
Sam
yeah,
Witwer and Ashley Eckstein and all that. So and Joe Hahn. So yeah, it'll be cool, man. So today we got some interesting news. Mark, you wanna let everyone know what's going on? Some
yeah.
new
So so
rumors.
so this probably happened a few days ago, or maybe 3 days ago. My good friends over at Star Wars Newsnet, which typically report pretty serious stuff, dropped a rumor that said that there is a Clone Wars spin-off series potentially in development. And it's kind of interesting because it's kind of like a Clone Wars spin-off, but it's also a little bit of a Rebels spin-off. They say that the idea for the show might be that Ahsoka and Sabine go off and look for Ezra. So it's happens post Rebels, but has more of a Clone Wars aesthetic, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So
Because Clone.
no thin lightsabers.
Right. No toothpick sabers. Um, but nobody knows for sure. What's
Hmm.
going on with it. There's been a lot of little rumors and hints dropped. I mean, we covered one where one of the animators or one of the folks over at Lucas Film said that if you keep loving the show, we'll keep making it.
Yeah.
So I if
Where do you think
if
Ezra's at right now? Where do you think they're
I
gonna
think
where do you think they're gonna take his story?
I think Ezra's caught in the world between worlds. You know what I mean? And this is like some astral plane that gets alluded to in the Rise of Skywalker script. Like what's the astral plane of the Jedi look like? Where you have Obi-Wan and Yoda and some of these folks. Maybe he's stuck in some like
Well,
purgatory
apparently,
type of.
yeah, apparently in the visualization or whatever, I forgot what the name is. The book that for the Rise of Skywalker, the visual dictionary.
Yep.
There's a portal apparently from Exegol, I think, that goes into the world between worlds.
Interesting. So to me, like expand on that. I actually like where the Star Wars News Net story is going, which is it's not going to be a direct continuation of the Clone Wars timeline,
Yeah,
even though I think that would be cool. Ahsoka
we're
going into hiding,
we're seeing a lot of
maybe.
your hat right now. Let's see that beautiful face. There we go. There we
Yeah,
go.
sorry about
There's
that.
Mark.
So yeah, so like the whole world between worlds thing, I think is a more interesting storyline than to go directly after the events of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Because unless you're going to make it about Obi-Wan, Vader, and Ahsoka in that kind of triangle, like there isn't really a ton of interesting stuff, I think, there. Where if you're going deeper into the Ezra storyline, into the world between worlds, maybe bring Mortis back, like I don't know. There's something that I think could be really interesting to
Well, I
explore
think
there
I
because
think yeah, they really need to capitalize on Mortis because first of all, I mean, it was going to be in the Duel of the Fate script, so you know that they're at least thinking about it a lot to bring it back and emphasize more on the story there and build more on that story. I think it's something that is so pivotal in Star Wars, and we haven't really seen it ever again, that they'd kind of be crazy not to mention it. And we did see in the end of Rebels, we saw the mural of all of those from Mortis. So we saw the father and all that. So I'm wondering, like, are we gonna see more of it? I would like to. I mean, imagine if
yeah,
Ezra
look
goes
at
in
the
there
end
and he starts to
at the
change
end of
some
Clone
events around.
Wars. At the end of Clone Wars, you have the sister or the I always get the name wrong, but
Morai,
that bird.
yeah,
You have the bird up there. So
the
I think that
daughter.
that's yeah, the daughter. So I think that that's meaningful. I think there's something meaningful there. Um, but look, I loved the Star Wars animations. I loved about 65 to 70% of Rebels. I didn't love all of Rebels, I'll be honest. I thought that the Rebels tone wasn't as raw as the Clone Wars tone, which I enjoy more.
It's not. Yeah, that's
I
that's
also
that's why I haven't been able to get into Rebels yet. I'm just like every time I
I
started, I'm just like, okay, man, like we'll get to the juicy parts.
I enjoy the Clone Wars animation style a lot more too.
Yeah.
Especially these last 4 episodes, which I think is some of the best Star Wars we've gotten. Period. Since Disney came on board. So look, I'm excited. I think they'd be fools to not do another big Lucasfilm animation
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
I think that Clone Wars speaks for itself. I mean, that was a very, very successful run for Disney Plus.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
It's
I
huge.
think it was more, yeah, I think it was more successful than they thought it was going to be.
Probably.
Uh, so
Well, I
it
mean,
makes
look,
sense that they
it's
would take
Clone
this on.
Wars and it's the finale and it's Order 66. I mean, that's gonna bring big numbers for them. So
Yeah, it's Anakin, it's Obi
I don't know
Wan.
when they're going to. I don't know, dude. I would be down for like this is what I think is gonna happen with the Obi-Wan shows. I think we're gonna get some flashbacks from those scenes from the Clone Wars, but in live action. So they bring Hayden back and Ewan, obviously, because he's already in it, and then they just de-age them and put them in some like Clone Wars outfits and armor and you don't think so?
I don't think so, man.
Why? You don't think we'll get
I don't think
flashbacks and
so.
stuff like Obi-Wan remembering to show the stark contrast? You don't think so?
I don't think so. I do think that Hayden will be in the Obi Wan series,
Yeah.
but I don't know in what
You
capacity
think
yet.
as Vader?
I think as Vader. I think as Vader. I mean, I hope and pray as Vader.
Yeah.
Because, and I've talked about this on Rule of Two for 3 years. To me, the story that I want to see is what George Lucas leaves as the cliffhanger, which is more teaching for you I still have. Your old master Qui Gon has more for you to learn.
Right.
So that a big brunt of the Obi-Wan series has Liam Neeson in it and has the dialogue between Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor, where Liam Neeson is telling him he is the chosen one, and your job is not finished. You still got to go rescue this guy,
Yeah.
and like you have to go try to bring him back, um, and Obi Wan reluctantly does it because he loves Qui Gon, and he fails ultimately.
Yeah.
But that there's moments of compassion in there, like kind of like in the first Vader fan film, right? Like there's moments where you see Vader being more Anakin than he is Vader, and I think the Obi Wan series, if it has those moments where he realizes that Vader is Anakin and all these kind of things unfolding, it could be the greatest television show ever made. I mean, it could be incredible. I
I
mean,
don't think he's
that's what
gonna. I
I
don't think
want
he's
from
gonna
it.
figure out that Vader's Anakin. That Vader's still alive until way later. That's the thing. I don't think he's gonna realize that until much later in the story, because that would be a really nice transition into season two. Because it's like, oh well, now he knows what's gonna happen now. And that's the thing is,
Yeah,
I think all of these shows are gonna basically be like Marvel. It's gonna be like the cinematic universe, We got Mandalorian. We got like all of these shows somehow are going to intertwine and be in the same universe, obviously. So I think we're going to see returning characters from each, ones who have lived throughout this time period, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I look. What do I want to see in an Obi-Wan series? I want to see
I want to see him
Qui-Gon,
kick ass.
Obi-Wan. I want to see Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Vader.
Yeah.
That's the story. That's what the original movies were about, and that's what I want to see continued in the show.
Yeah. Do you think he ever went
That's
off
the
world?
storyline that I think is important. The
Do
what?
you think he ever went off world to see Yoda or something?
I do. I think he goes back to Alderaan. I think he goes to Alderaan. That's like his only connection, and I think that,
Alderaan.
uh, yeah, to Alderaan. I think that somehow he still has connection with
Bail.
Leia's adopted father. I forget his name right now, but
Bail Organa.
yeah, Bail. Yeah, Bail Organa. I think he goes back to Alderaan. I think that Jimmy Smits could have a good role in this show. At least that's what I would want to see. Look, this is all like fan theory stuff, but like that's what I want to see. I want to see Bail. I want to see Qui-Gon. I want to see Obi-Wan, and I want to see Anakin slash Vader.
I want to see the Emperor again too. Do you think we could see Ian?
I mean, this is their timeline, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
that's why this
that's why,
Obi-Wan
and I know you hated the Cassian Andor show or whatever that was coming. It's like, dude, that's the timeline. That's the Rogue One timeline. I think that would be, we could see so much stuff in there from Vader and Palps and all that. So it wouldn't really be about Cassian. I mean, who cares about Cassian really? But it's that timeline. We get to see those characters again and what they're going through. You don't think so?
Um,
You're like, no.
I don't think that that's what the Cassian Andor show would be about.
Okay.
I think it'd be much more like, I mean, it's got to be a prequel, right?
Well, yeah, he's dead.
Right. I don't know, man. Look, I'll tell you right now, like, I don't even think about that show because I'm so confident that it's never gonna happen. I could be wrong, and like, look, you always are allowed to change your opinion based on new data.
Yeah, true.
But the data that I have right now tells me that that show will never happen.
So circling back to the Clone Wars sequel, the Rebels sequel, the Rebels sequel with the Clone Wars animation style, yeah,
Yeah.
with now curvy lightsabers. Where do you think it's gonna go with Ezra? I mean, okay, so let's say they go on a hunt for Ezra, and then they find possibly Exegol. They find out what Palpatine's been doing in the shadows because they went to the unknown regions.
Right. I mean, but now you're assuming that Exegol is canon. No, I mean, I'm kidding. Of course, it's canon. But see, like, whenever you try to connect Rise of Skywalker with like this other stuff,
Yeah.
something inside of me says like, oh, that doesn't like, oh, like please no, like leave it aside. But you're right. I mean, like you have to connect it. Like, I mean, Exegol, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the first time Exegol was ever mentioned in any context was in Rise of Skywalker, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm not as sure if that's true or not, but
Yeah, no, there's nothing else.
there's nothing else,
At least
right?
that I
So
know of, yeah.
where Mortis has been mentioned, right? Korriban has been mentioned, and it's like these are the places, like the original Sith homeworld, or like the planet that could be the origin of the Force itself. Like these are the things that I wish they would go deeper into,
Yeah.
because this is what George wanted to go deeper
Do you
into.
think they're
I mean,
saving it? Well, they don't care about what George's script obviously anymore. We know that. They went with their own thing. We saw what George said in that interview for that show or that movie or whatever he was doing. He was part of Magic or something like that. And the interviewer asked him, "What do you think about the whole where Star Wars is going now?" He's like, "Well, I gave them my scripts and they didn't. They threw that away and they made their own thing. So that's what I think about that. And it's literally what it is. So they don't care, obviously. So I don't think they're going to expand on the past planets all that much. And if they do, then hopefully they save it for the Old Republic. And I really hope they would be fools to not go and just cultivate that gold mine that they're sitting on.
I agree, man. And like, look, what's another gold mine I think that they're sitting on
What?
that they could really have a lot of fun with is Dathomir and the Night Sisters. Like I think Dathomir and the
Yeah, it'd be
Night
really cool.
Sisters Um,
Well, we never
you
got
know, you get.
the son of Dathomir uh, spin-off for Clone Wars, right? We got it in a comic book.
I'm sorry. Tell me more.
So we were supposed to get basically what happened to Maul between season 4 and season 7. So he goes in and he fights Grievous. He fight teams up with Dooku. Then he fights Dooku, and then Palpatine shows up, and he has the dark saber this whole time, and the Mandalorians have to bail him out of everything. It's so when we left off with Maul in season 4, he was captured by Sidious and he was taken to a stronghold. He was taken to like this camp where he's just being tortured and hung up. He's strung up. Dooku comes in, says a couple things to him, and they're face to face, which would be so cool to see. I would love to see that in live action, but of course,
Mm.
rest in peace, Sir Christopher Lee. Um,
Yeah.
long story short, the Mandos break him out of there and break Maul out of there, and then they just have to like fight the Separatists, and then Grievous shows up, and then he fights Maul, and then Maul fights Dooku and teams up with Dooku, and Sidious shows up and then teams up with Grievous and
Oh boy.
Dooku.
Yeah,
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 and
yeah.
it's crazy.
You know, and like somebody in the chat just mentioned it, and I think it's a good point. You gotta give credit to Jedi Fallen Order for trying to bring a Night Sister into the storyline,
Yeah.
and I thought they did a nice job with it actually. To bring Dathomir into the storyline, I think Dathomir is a planet that has a ton of stories left to be told. My favorite storyline in the Clone Wars probably is the ousting of Asajj Ventress, right, by Count Dooku, because the Emperor basically tells him go kill her.
Yeah.
The introduction of Savage Opress, and the Wicked Mother. What's the mother's name?
Mother Talzin.
Mother Townsend. Like that storyline, I think is awesome. I'd love to see more into that. I think that I think that it would be risky, but I think it would be a lot of fun if they brought in a new Wookiee storyline. I know that sounds a little crazy, but I think that there's a sect like there's a part of Star Wars fans that love Wookiees. It's like the Wookiee people.
Well,
You
yeah, and
know,
that's the
and
thing is that like they can make so many different spin-offs for so many different characters and stuff like that in timelines. They can go back in time, like someone just mentioned. Will Hall, thanks for the $2, man. He says the Night Sisters are all dead besides Fallen Order. Yeah, but the thing is, they can go back in time. They can cover stories that they haven't covered yet. I think that would be something that's really interesting and something that they need to do is because look, George did the heavy lifting and he created all these characters. We have the love for them. All they need to do now is expand on it. It's already there. But instead, I feel like they're just going in and like creating their own new stuff, which is fine. But at the same time, you can't leave out the stuff that we love and stuff that we're used to. So, anyways,
yeah, look, for me, the Night Sisters are special because of what they meant to me on Star Wars Galaxies, and how big of a plot point they were back in 2005, in the role playing game and stuff like that. But there's a ton of cool stuff. That like expanded lore. I love the idea of that kind of storyline that the Darth Bane books take you to, which is like this the early days of of like the modern rule of two Sith thing.
hmm
Um, what's Disney's interpretation of that? I think would be interesting, but I don't know, man.
how do you
Between
how do you feel about Maul's original death? So Maul was supposed to originally die at the hands of Vader in Rebels,
Interesting.
and
I
then they
I never
changed
heard
it.
that.
Yeah,
I never heard that. I think it wouldn't have made it. I think that the way it ended is the right way to end it. It's like Maul's ultimate adversary was Obi-Wan, and I actually think Twin Sons is by far the best episode of Rebels. It's an awesome episode, and it's such a poetic ending to that character.
hmm
Like, look, even though it's Star Wars, right? You can bring back anybody you want at any point.
yeah.
But I thought that Darth Maul ended. It was a hopeful death. I mean, he dies with the hope that what Obi Wan is doing there is actually going to be good for his ultimate mission of destroying the Emperor.
Well,
Because
right.
like,
Remember when I asked Sam Witwer, I'm like, "Do you think he was redeemed?" He's like, "That's not for me to say." And I was like, "All right,
right, right.
all right.
But I think that whether he's redeemed or not, I don't know. But he he definitely died with the same intentions that Obi-Wan had.
Yeah,
They were like aligned.
yeah." In a
You know,
weird way,
which I
yeah.
thought was really cool. Like they had this battle to the death that was very quick, but they had a battle to the death. But at the end, it's kind of like when you were in high school and you had a fight with with your biggest enemy, and you guys punched each other out, and then by the end of the fight, you guys are
You
best
guys are friends.
friends.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
that I like that. I like that angle on Maul and Obi-Wan.
yeah. Super chat from Mr. Memes. That could be a Vader series if you think about it. If they kind of hinted at it. Yeah, I mean, like, just look at the success from Vader Episode 1. A year later, 18.5 million views, and honestly, it was pretty boring. Like, there was no fighting, there was no nothing. It was just the story of Vader, right? So they could really capitalize on that and see, like, dude, people really love the story of Vader, and that's something we should definitely take a hold of and extrapolate on.
1,000%. If I owned Lucasfilm, if I owned the IP, I would be developing a lot of stuff around Vader. Because Vader is my Mickey Mouse. Like
I'd
he
make a
is,
game where you're Anakin during Order 66, or you're playing a Jedi during Order 66, not after.
and just taking out the Jedi.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I mean, look, you should replay Revenge of the Sith because you have a really cool moment where you're doing that. Even though, look, it's a 15-year-old game,
Yeah.
right? So it's older, but you're right that was one of my favorite moments of the game. Was like
When you're in the
you
temple.
slaughtering, yeah, when you're in the temple, slaughtering the librarian and then everybody else that comes along with it. Um, yeah, but I want to see how Darth Vader. And I look, you're doing this a lot in your fan film, but I want to see that transition between the no Darth Vader to like the fully committed, guy killing people in the boardroom.
Yeah.
There's so many years of unknown story there for Darth Vader that I think would be really, really interesting, and like what other oppositions did he face along the years, and like how could the writers that are in charge of canon expand upon that, and it's a bummer that they don't go there because they're trying to reinvent so many things. Fair enough, you're trying to build new IP, but you have the most glorious IP on the planet. You should use it a little bit more.
You know what you should use? The beautiful hat I sent you instead of that dirty ass whatever you're wearing right now.
I have it around here somewhere.
Yeah, anyways. Ahsoka and Rex after Clone Wars spin-off show. That'd be cool. The Star Wars guy's a new member. Thank you, man. Yo, we love you, Mark. I'd love Annie to come back too. Annie, is a storm a coming?
Yeah.
The Night Sisters are all dead, but yeah, we got Savage Oppress almost was in Twin Sons episode. Yeah, too bad he wasn't. Do you think Vader could sit on the Sith Force Ghost spirits to obtain knowledge like Darth Krayt did, i.e. Darth Bane or Nihilus spirits? He could, but that's Super Legends, so I mean, I don't think they'll ever go there. I'd love to see what the Night Brothers do after Fallen Order. Yeah, it'd be cool. Christopher Duffy, thank you, and Star Wars guy. They should bring back Kyle Katarn for a show. Yeah, Mark's a big Kyle Katarn fan.
Yeah, I mean, Jedi Knight is one of my favorite games of all time. And the Kyle Katarn story I think is really interesting. People talk about Luke disconnecting from the Force, but that was really Kyle Katarn's story. Kyle Katarn's story is that he eventually disconnects from the Force.
Yeah.
And if you play Jedi Knight 2, which is the big popular one, throughout most of the game, you're not even a Jedi.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still Kyle Katarn, but you're not using any of the Jedi powers.
Right.
Until pretty late into the game, because he had disconnected from the Force. But I think Kyle Katarn's a really interesting character because they tried to blend Luke with Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of like a blend between Luke and Han Solo, and it creates a pretty cool, gruff character. Yeah, I'd love to see all those guys back. I mean, look, obviously the one that I'd love to see the most back would be Revan. Then closely Darth Bane. We're gonna bring back Plagueis, right?
Yeah, in our
Or at
game
least
that
the
we're gonna
disciple.
make someday.
Yeah, yeah. At
Yeah,
least the disciples of Plagueis.
yeah, that'd be cool. We should just make it Palpatine. Hey guys, would you rather play as Plagueis in a game about Plagueis, or Palpatine in a game about Plagueis, or one of the disciples, one of the 7 disciples that Plagueis was potentially going to train? So type 1 for Palpatine, type 2 for Plagueis, and type 3 for one of the disciples. And eventually you have to. Well, I won't reveal that. Hey Theory, it's my birthday. Thanks for this awesome present. Also, do you think we will see the Mandalorian and Jedi conflict during the High Republic? It's possible. I mean, we could, but we're getting Space Vikings. So, happy birthday, GJJ. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for the £5. I should be paying
Space
you on your
Vikings.
birthday. Chat, let's give a happy birthday to GJJ. Exon says Mortis arc, best arc. Also off topic. Do you think you'll be streaming a game later on Arcade? Yeah, man. Every night. Every night we'll be streaming a game on Arcade. Every day I stream at least 3 hours usually. So, yeah.
There's a cool new game called A Way Out that I've been talking to Theory about, which is like you play. It won the BAFTA for best multiplayer game,
Right.
and you basically it's a co. It can only be played co-op, and it's 2 people trying to escape jail together.
Yeah.
I have no idea what to expect, but I'm pretty intrigued by it.
Yeah, it seems like it could be fun. Will you read High Republic books? Maybe good. Yeah, I'll be reading them. Who's the most important character to the story in all of Star Wars? Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
George Lucas said that a long time ago. Would love to see you guys try multiplayer dueling on Revenge of the Sith video game. Had one of the best mixes of force powers and lightsaber dueling gameplay in my opinion. Think
Oh,
you'll
I'll,
enjoy it.
I'll take you on any
I'll
day,
take
man.
you
Let's
on. Let's
do it.
go. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Snoke should have been
You
Plagueis.
underestimate my power.
That would have made sense. Snoke should have been Plagueis. That would have been amazing. Yeah, but
Oh, we can't do multiplayer because there's no way to do it.
oh,
There's no way to. You can't. The PS2 network
we'll
doesn't
just have
exist
to
anymore.
play Vertex.
Yeah. I mean, well, we already have tape on who won those duels.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Hey, it's my first time.
Yeah.
Maybe you do something where it switches off between Plagueis and Palpatine. Oh yeah, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'm excited for a lot of things to come. There are a lot of big things I'd love to reveal to you guys, and we'll talk about that in the future. So just know that there's cool stuff coming for sure. I want to play as Darth Revan again. I love Revan. Yeah, it'd be neat. Be neat. They're making a
Yeah, Revan
they're making a Revan lightsaber on Force Effects.
on Force
Yeah,
Effects.
Hasbro. Yeah, unless it was like a
Yeah.
fake picture, but it looked very real, and everyone's been talking about it. So
Have you ever played Skyrim?
yeah,
So there's a lightsaber. Have you ever played Skyrim in VR?
no, that'd be cool.
Skyrim in VR is as first of all, it's mind blowing, but Skyrim in VR with the lightsaber mod and the Force power mods, it's the coolest. I think it's the coolest Star Wars video game experience I've had since
Are you
Galaxies.
gonna
It is
make
so
a
frick.
Are you gonna make a VR game, something like that?
I
I
have
think
a
that'd be
VR
cool.
game that I'm currently working on that's coming out in August, and I'm very, very excited about it. I'm so excited about it. I haven't announced what it is yet,
Hmm.
but it is multiplayer and it is going to be an Oculus Quest. I can give you that right now. Um, but it's not, unfortunately, it's not a Star Wars game. I mean, I don't have that license. So,
Yeah. Hmm. How did you play Skyrim on VR?
so Skyrim is out on VR on Steam for the Oculus Rift.
So you got to buy the whole
So
game again?
you got to buy the game again. It's like $40.
Okay.
And with your Oculus Quest, you can just link it, and then it becomes an Oculus Rift. Dude. It's Skyrim VR with all the mods is the coolest friggin' thing there is, man. I'm like about 65% done with the story,
Yeah.
and it's just like it's absolutely phenomenal. It's absolutely
I saw
phenomenal
some
game.
dude playing it on YouTube. He was like in one of those endless treadmills, like the
Oh, really?
multi-directional treadmill. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Playing Skyrim.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's
That's
cool.
dope.
Yeah, so I think VR is
Yeah,
the
they have
future, man.
Skyrim.
I can't wait. Can't wait for
They
that.
have Skyrim and they have Fallout 4.
I played Fallout for like 20 minutes once.
Oh,
Wasn't fun.
look. First of all, that's a good point. Somebody in the chat just brought it up. Star Wars Squadrons is in VR. I know that you and I were both, I think, equally. I'm not sure if underwhelmed is the word, but we weren't like overjoyed with what we saw. But given that it is in VR, I think makes it very, very, very cool. There's a game by the Eve Online people. I forget what the name is called. It's a game for VR. It's one of the earliest games. Valkyrie. It's called Valkyrie,
Hmm.
where you play inside a spaceship and you're going out into battle. And that game was awesome in VR. It was tough on the stomach and it made you a little bit seasick, but it was a great game. If you give me a really authentic VR jet like fighter pilot experience inside of a TIE fighter or TIE interceptor or an X-wing or an A-wing, that could be pretty friggin' cool,
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be neat.
you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, I am
I'd love
excited
for it
about
to
the
be
fact that
made
it's
by
VR.
LucasArts, but
I agree. I agree. Look, but I am excited about the fact that it's coming out in VR. I do think that that's a good thing.
hmm. A Dark Vader show of him hunting Jedi would be, yeah, Thunder Khajiit, 100%. That's yeah. There's a lot of cool things that they could make, and I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that they could be doing. Like, give me a Darth Maul backstory, you know, before the Phantom Menace. Give me a Qui-Gon
Yeah.
Obi-Wan show, cartoon, movie. I don't care. Turn all these amazing books that they've made and make it into an actual video game, or give me a Qui-Gon video game where he's apprenticed to Dooku. Like, I don't know why they're not doing this stuff. They're just creating these new characters, which is fine, but what the hell? Like, why not build upon the characters that we already love? Seriously, like, give me a freaking Qui-Gon Jinn enters the Jedi Temple as a little Padawan, and Dooku is his master, is appointed as his master. Like, just from the book, Dooku Jedi Lost.
I mean,
Super
look,
easy.
I'd love to see a really solid like and DC is great at doing this kind of stuff. Okay, DC is awesome at doing this kind of stuff. Make standalone animated pictures around some of this Legends canon,
Yeah.
right? Like, imagine a feature or a trilogy that focuses on the Zahn trilogy, but that's really well produced by Lucasfilm Animation.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, The Last Command, all as feature-length films, animated, fine, but feature-length. You know, I bet you Mark Hamill would come and do the voice. I bet you, the guy who does Thrawn in Rebels would do Thrawn.
Yeah.
You could have some fun with that. Do an animation series about Darth Bane and the Old Republic and Plagueis. It's just with Disney Plus, people would see that and sign up for it as much as they sign up for the movies. It's like
Yeah.
for whatever reason Disney hates or hates is the wrong word. I shouldn't say that, but Disney just has like pushed away all of this 30 years worth of legacy content that is proven, that has analytics around it that the fans love, and I don't know. I That's what I wish Disney would do a little bit more. Is you know One time I heard Kathleen Kennedy say that Star Wars isn't like Marvel because there's nothing written for it. It's like, are you kidding me? It has just as it's just like there's so much written for it. There's so much extended lore,
There's more written for Star Wars than Marvel, I think.
Probably so, dude. And for her to say that, I think speaks volumes of
Well,
her.
that's kind of actually tough to say. I don't know. They're pretty equal. There's so much on both ends that could be turned into a show or game or whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, because like Marvel has so much comics and like
Yo,
Star Wars has
Geekdom!
more
What up,
novels.
dude? Glad to have you in the chat. My buddy Geekdom is in here.
Oh, nice,
That's
nice. What up,
dope.
Geekdom?
He's got a dope channel for Dragon Ball Z, which is my other favorite fandom that I was Dude, when I would get bullied in school, not to sidestep a little bit, when I get bullied in school, I'd like people would like fight me and stuff, and I'd I'd try to like go Super Saiyan as a kid, and I was like fully serious. I thought I'd like actually like power up and level up, be able to like beat up this big dude who's trying to beat the crap out of me, but it didn't work.
Yeah, I used to pretend when I was a little kid and somebody would try to like bully me that I would get possessed by a ninja, and I would like start going crazy, like speaking in this fake ninja language,
That's dope.
and it would scare the kids, and I'd come running at them,
That's how
I'd
you got to do
charge
it.
them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
it didn't fail all the time, but I mean, you try to fight a kid and he starts like screaming into the sky and like his fists are all like ah. You're gonna run away a little bit.
yeah, yeah. You're gonna think twice.
Yeah, but when they don't, that's when you're screwed because then you're under the false impression that you actually have Super Saiyan powers and then you get beat up. Oh man, that's some funny memories. Oh jeez. Okay, I just wanted to share that after having done a Star Wars marathon, I realized how out of context the sequels are. Why did Disney decanonize everything? I don't know. Yeah, dude, if you do a Star Wars sequel, a Star Wars marathon, it's gonna feel really weird. So,
The
anyways,
sequels feel so out of place.
did you notice the Corvus at 33 in the trailer? Honestly, dude, I didn't really put time into the trailer. For more reasons than I would like to explain. Could you see someone bringing back the clones to face the Yuzon Vong? Clone troopers are widely liked more than any faction in Star Wars. The Yuzon Vong are a really interesting character because they're immune to the Force, so the Jedi can't really do anything to them. They're like this behemoth kind of race that just goes around and demolishes everything and takes over planets. Do you think they can? They make planets extinct. Do you think they can tell more stories in Clone Wars about the heroes of the CIS? Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be cool. Thank you, Jonathan, for the 20. Look, there's so many things that they can do, and I just hope that you know, time will tell. Hopefully they do. Have you watched Rebels? And I think Luke is most key. Luke was a catalyst. So George always said that Luke was a catalyst and that Anakin was always the chosen one. I haven't watched Rebels. I've watched some key moments, but I never was able to get fully into the show. Um, maybe it's
There's
my
some tough
ADD.
episodes.
Yeah, maybe I don't
There's
know.
some tough
Peter
episodes
Jackson should.
because
Yeah.
because the tone of it um, got younger. Like I think Clone Wars is obviously still for kids. Like Star Wars is for kids, And I think we can all agree on that. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
and
very
Anakin
specific.
burning and Anakin beheading people and hands falling off and
But this is all still for kids because what it means, at least the way I've always taken it, it's about that moment. Some people call it the bar mitzvah, other call it the first communion. Many cultures have many different names for it, but it's that moment where a child becomes a man and those important lessons that you need to learn about whether you're going to be a good person or a bad person. And that's what Star Wars is about. And of course, the bad stuff is real, right? And that's why they call it PG-13, because at PG-13, you better get ready for a few f bombs and some blood.
yeah.
So there is real violence there. There's death there. Um, but I felt that Clone Wars was very much that, you know, in that borderline PG-13 thing, where Rebels took it to like 10 years old, like 10 to like
Yeah,
8 to 10.
that's what I felt with
You know what I
Rebels.
mean?
Yeah, it's for much a younger generation maybe, but I see what you're saying about Star Wars is for kids because man, I was a kid when I loved it. As
Oh,
Dave
it's
Filoni
absolutely
said,
for
it's like,
kids.
yeah, dude, I fell in love with Star Wars when I was about 6 years old or so. So it was so special to me, and it really is a fundamental pivoting point in my life to um, having all these great characters to look up to and try to embody in certain tough situations that life presents us.
Yeah, it's for kids, but it's for kids,
We're
but it's
turning
geared
into,
for kids.
yeah,
Yes, exactly.
yeah, I see.
It's for the moment of transition between a child and an adult.
Yeah.
And all cultures celebrate that. And our culture celebrate, or George Lucas celebrated that transition with this beautiful, like, hero's journey,
Yeah.
of like, this is what it takes to become a good person, and these are the temptations of the dark side. And it's awesome, but because, like, when you're 12 or 13, that's when you hit puberty. That's when you can start having children, like sexually maturing anyway, like biologically. I mean, look, I'm not saying that people do have kids at that age, but that's just science,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you cease to be a child and you start transitioning into adulthood. And, like, that's why every culture has a very important lesson in place at that age.
Okay. Peter Jackson should direct an Old Republic movie. Yeah, I think so too. Um, I really love Lord of the Rings. By the way, shout out to my new channel, Fantasy Theory. I don't even have a thumbnail yet or a cover art for it yet, but we're going to cover in Lord of the Rings there and The Matrix and The Witcher and all that stuff. Ever notice the High Republic content doesn't even have variable species present and all are generic looking? Thoughts on the Jedi Space Temple? I don't have thoughts on it because it so far I don't know enough to be interested. When I heard about it, I was really interested because I was like, oh, cool, like High Republic, it's going to be like Old Republic. But the more I learn about it, it's like, what's it really about? So I'm sure it's going to be cool. So, but yeah, I don't want to judge it until we fully know. Until I read that book, read the last page of that book. Um, Mick Shork says, "I love your work. I legit would love to work with you on a project someday. You're an awesome dude who loves Star Wars as much as me. Awesome, man. Um, Thank you." Revan says, "They need to do a backstory on Darth Revan." Yes, Revan, they do. Jose Calderon, decanonize the sequels. Kennedy needs to resign. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I just want Filoni and I want, you know what? Jon Favreau is really, he was always my favorite. Uh, Far before he was doing anything Star Wars that I knew of. But now with the Mando and how he's talking about you have to listen to the fans and you got to be more respectful of the storyline, this and that, I really hold him in much higher regards and respects that he knows really what he's doing. I don't think he's an egotistical jerk who will just write his own story for the sake of uh, uh, licking the bag and putting it back on the shelf, so to speak. Just to have his mark on something. I think Legacy Era was better than Old Republic. Fair enough. Did you hear that Mark Hamill made a cameo appearance on The Mandalorian? No, I didn't. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, he plays one of the droids.
Oh, really?
He plays one of the droids.
That's cool.
Yeah, they just revealed that like a few days ago.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Here, anyone flesh and blood ever tapped into the comic force to battle anyone or thing, and why hasn't anyone tapped into this potential storyline? Can I please get a number 66? Has anyone flesh and blood ever tapped into the comic force? The Do you mean the cosmic force to battle anyone or thing, and why hasn't anyone tapped into this potential storyline? I don't know. Maybe it's something that they'll look into someday. Again, there's so many things that they could be drawing on right now. Like all the backstory comics from Qui-Gon Jinn, I thought were super, super interesting. Where Qui-Gon almost turns to the dark side because of his girlfriend who gets assassinated, and he hears her voice. So it's almost like either he imagines it or she turns into some Force ghost. So I'm not really sure. Her name was Tal, Tahl. But I mean, there's so many things that they could do, and I'd love for them to do them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting how the next year unfolds for Lucasfilm. There's been all kinds of rumors about who's going to be running things, but as of now, it's still the same exact people running things. So there's really no changes that are official.
Mm.
I think hopefully within the next 6 months, they'll either say we're going to stick to it, we're going to stick with Kathleen, or we have new leadership at the top. But I think either or, they should figure that out pretty quickly.
You know what I didn't like about what Kathleen said is that there's no source material. I don't know what the hell she meant by that. Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah,
What does that mean?
yeah, that's crazy.
That's like saying Marvel has no source material. It's literally. I was like, what? have any idea what kind of
I mean, I
company
think
you're
look,
working on? Like,
she could be referring to the fact that Star Wars was born as a film franchise and then expanded to books and comics, where Marvel started as comics and expanded into films. But yeah, I mean, like the bottom line is that for what from 1977 to 2013, there was a crap ton of amazing Star Wars content created. Not all of
thousands.
it was, yeah, yeah, tons of books, hundreds of books at
Comics,
least.
books, games. I mean, the board games even board games like had different stories and things that you could take from. It's just I don't know, dude. Anyways, what's your favorite lightsaber battle? Probably Annie versus Obi-Wan. And then the
Yeah, me
second
too.
would have to be Duel of the Fates, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon with Maul, and then
My it's short, but I
maybe
really love Anakin Dooku.
I like Anakin Dooku Episode 2. I think that one's really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
I like Anakin Dooku Revenge of the Sith. It's too short, but I really
it
love
is
that
too
fight.
short. Um, in the book, it's not short. In the book, it is so freaking cool, man. Anakin's like throwing freaking. He just goes crazy and he's like throwing tables and stuff, and like the tables are being thrown everywhere. It was a cool scene. Everything in the books is so much cooler. I don't know why. Like the scene where he kills the sand people. Dude,
Yeah,
he's throwing freaking boulders at them and like crushing them. He like raises them in
yeah.
the air. He uses force speed and says he was like moving through the night, like in a blur, and he was just decimating everyone. Like he was ruthless. And I don't know why they cut these things out. Maybe because it's not kid friendly, but super cool, super cool
Yeah,
stuff.
the women and children too, and
Yeah, and then probably Maul versus Ahsoka is another one for me. What guests will you guys get on the show in the future? Ewan McGregor, Hayden, Sam again, Dave Filoni. Love your work, guys. It makes me happy. Thanks. We'd love to get Dave Filoni. That'd be really cool. We'd love to get Sam again too. Ewan and Hayden are that would be huge. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day. When can we get a full movie about the Jedi Temple and all its secrets? Hey, you're asking the right questions. Brick says, I wish that S reference had never come to me. I wish this movie has never been made. So do all who live to see the rise of Skywalker. Lord of the Rings. Revan, what do you prefer, light or dark side? I prefer in the middle, like how Qui-Gon was. I think canon Rebel era comics are better than Legends. Okay. So like the Vader comics? I don't know, dude. Nothing beats the Dark Horse Vader comics. Those were the most dark,
yeah.
gritty, and cool comics out there. Yeah, I love
You
the
see
new
the Dark
ones.
Horse, the Dark Horse Darth Maul comic is pretty cool too.
I don't know if I remember this.
Yeah, yeah, it's a whole graphic novel. It's really cool.
Okay, I gotta check it out.
Yeah.
I'm probably seen it when I was a kid, but I can't remember it right now. Please fix the emojis. Oh, you guys like the new emojis for members? Spam 'em. Hey Mark, I sent you a script to a Last Jedi rewrite on Insta. Would you read it during next rule of two?
I don't think we're touching the Last Jedi again for
Yeah,
a long time.
yeah, yeah.
This is not going to end how
Every
you
single one
think
of
it
these
is.
shows turns into a sequel bashing fest. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, Chris, but it's not actually. I always preferred Darth Bane's story to Revan. Okay.
Yeah, like I mean, they're two very separate stories, two very different stories. I think Revan is about finding your inner nature with a blank slate, where you have Darth Bane is about making sense of the anger
Mm-hmm.
and like the darkness. I think they're very different stories, but I think they're both very cool.
Yeah. How is episode 2 coming along? Um, it's a very loaded question, and I wish I could tell you more about it, but um, yeah, just know I'm working on it. So Should they rewrite the sequels? Yeah, I think so. The Last Jedi is the Godfather compared to the prequels. All right.
Hold on. Somebody said I do miss Mark's Hux voice. I miss doing Hux, man.
Yeah, maybe you should be Hux. Let's hear a Hux.
Hold on. What was the line from Force Awakens
It'll be the
when he's giving
last time that they blah, 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 something. I don't know.
The First Order?
You should do a background for Yoda from where he's from. Well, yeah, that's the Mando, dudes. Mando season 2. What music do I listen to? Oh man, everything. Linkin Park, 50 Cent. Well, I guess you want genres. So anything from Hawaiian ukulele to death metal.
It's true. I can vouch for that. He'll send me Hawaiian ukulele Spotify links, and I'm like, what the f is this, man?
Dark Horse Maul comic is better than Marvel's, but because it was the Clone Wars script, it's still canon. Comics are my fave Star Wars medium for both canon. Oh, dude, no, I've covered that one. I've covered that Dark Horse comic, and it is still canon. Are you talking? Is that the one you're talking about? It was done recently.
No, the one that I'm talking about was maybe done like in 2012 or something like that,
Okay.
2011.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the one, but there's so many Dark Horse comics, so I don't want to say for sure. If you could be in any era, what era and what kind of saber? So I'd have a green saber, and I would probably be in the Old Republic.
Nice.
What would you think if the World Between Worlds came in later on in the form of someone changing the timeline to create an alternate sequel timeline? That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Kind of like a Thanos thing. Yeah, sure. But I just don't think time travel should be touched in movies unless it's Back to the Future. I just don't think it really works.
I like time travel. You know what movie time travel's cool in? You're gonna love this one, Looper.
Oh God. Ever since you
It's
interviewed
cool,
Ryan
dude.
Johnson, man, you're like a fan.
Like a
You're
fanboy.
like a fanboy. Yeah.
Look, you know how I feel about The Last Jedi, but Looper is a cool movie. Looper is a better Star Wars movie than
You've
The Last
allowed this
Jedi.
dark lord to twist your mind.
I do not see Ryan Johnson as you do.
Mark, Ryan Johnson is evil.
From my point of view, J.J. Abrams is
The
evil.
prequels are evil. Then you are lost.
No, not the prequels are my favorite, man. You know that.
No, you're
The prequels
changing
are my
on us.
favorite.
You're changing on us, dude. Oh.
My list. I'll give it to you guys right now. Revenge of the Sith, number 1. Okay. Return of the Jedi, number 2. Empire Strikes Back, 3. A New Hope, 4. Attack of the Clones, 5. Phantom Menace, 6. And then whatever. You can have fun with the rest. I don't care.
Geekdom says Knives Out is good. Dude, I was so into Knives Out, but then when I saw it, I was just like, why are you telling me who the killer is right at the beginning? And I just thought it was like, I just didn't enjoy it after that. I thought it was garbage. And then now it's getting a sequel. Hollywood loves him. I don't know why. Nothing against the guy, but I don't know, dude. Whatever.
From my point of view, J.J. Abrams is evil.
Then you are lost.
Oh God.
But yeah, I was totally
It's
down for
treason,
Knives Out,
man.
and then it just, I don't know.
I mean, Revenge of the Sith is not only my favorite Star Wars movie. I think it might be in the top 10 best movies ever made, dude.
Yeah.
I think it's freaking brilliant. I think Revenge of the Sith is absolutely
Yeah,
brilliant.
just for the way it makes me feel, I would say so too. You geeked him. You were down with that, so you liked how the viewers were kind of in on it, like they knew as much as the main character did. I forgot her name. I could see that.
I thought Knives Out was cool, man. I like Knives Out.
You know what? I
Good.
probably found one thing that I felt off about, and I'm like, you know what? F this movie, man. He made The Last Jedi, and I just probably went on that rant. So
Yeah.
you can't trust me when it comes to that because I get so run with my emotions, master.
Yeah. I'm just so
I'm
frustrated
so
with Ryan Johnson.
frustrated with Disney. Oh God. Okay. Parth says Jacob Peterson says really hope you guys bring in Colin Trevorrow as a guest sometime soon. I really want to hear his thoughts on the sequel trilogy and the backstory of his movie being canceled. I don't know if he'd be able to even talk about that. You have to realize like how many NDAs he's probably on for life. So
Because somebody wrote, that's funny. Because of Ryan.
probably. I don't want to hear any more about Ryan.
I don't want to hear any more about Ryan Johnson.
Darth Malgus says from Parth, what about a Mortis movie? Yeah, dude, look, I'm down for all of this stuff.
Love it.
Seriously. The Vader outfit of your episode 1 looks like the original outfit. Well done. Thanks, man. We really tried to take in a lot of details, except, of course, for some, which was budget constraints and time constraints, and things we'll be a lot more aware of for episode 2 and 3. Am I the only one who thinks there should be a Star Wars, Star Trek, and Doctor Who crossover? I think, yeah, Parth, I think you're the only one. I don't know. Anyone else? X Alt says Star Wars Theory, you should collab with Geekdom 101. Yeah, dude, I'd love that. Yeah, he's a cool guy. I don't know what we talked about though, cause I don't know. I don't know. He does Dragon Ball Z and a lot of stuff, so it's like I don't even want to venture. Although I'd love to make a Z channel, Z Theory, but I don't know. I respect him too much. I wouldn't want to tread on his turf. So also he knows way more about it than I do. So I mean,
Another funny one. The Star Wars talking about Ryan Johnson. You brought him here to kill me.
yeah, pretty much, dude. Love Geekdom and Star Wars Theories channels. Thanks, man. Just uploaded a new Cobra Kai video. Cobra Kai's going to Netflix, baby. Gonk Droid, Gonk. Thank you, dude. Hope to see you on the gaming channel tonight. Geekdom, you're down? We should get you on Rule of Two sometime or something. Talk about some stuff. Never was so interested in Star Wars until I found your channel. Thanks, Easton. Yo, Theory, show Mark my half sleeve. Oh, yeah, Riley. Dude, your half sleeve is pretty sick. So Riley sent me an email with his... It's probably one of the coolest half sleeves I've seen. Ryan Johnson turned... Ryan Johnson turned against me. Don't you turn against me. High Republic
Because of
into
Ryan.
revealed theory. Wait, what? High Republic info revealed? Oh, okay. Ryan, you're breaking my heart.
You're going down a path. You're going down a storyline that I cannot follow.
Because of Ryan. Because of what you've written.
Because of what you've written, what you plan to write.
Because of what you did to Luke. Adam Sandler would make Star Wars worse than episode 7 to 9 did. Nah, dude, I
Adam
think he'd make
Sandler?
it better.
Adam Sandler?
I don't think anyone could have. Yeah, I think Adam Sandler could have done a fine job. He probably is a fan of Star Wars. So, Spooky Pencil says, so I'm always hating on Disney and talking trash about them because they made a sequel. They made the sequels and ruined Star Wars besides Clone Wars and Rebels. But then I think, oh, where'd it go? But then I think, but they run Marvel. I don't know where I stand on Disney. Yeah, but that's because they appoint the right people behind Marvel, right? Russo brothers, um, Feige, these are the right people to have behind that fandom, behind that enterprise. Um, you get people like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, and look at the magic they're making. So it's really just about who you appoint, and that's really it. These companies, they appoint leaders, and the leaders then appoint their own leaders underneath that, and then underneath them and them and them. And so it's really this kind of hierarchy, and they just need to appoint the right kind of people who understand the story. Otherwise, you get stuff like where we're at now. So,
Mr. Memes had my favorite super chat of the day so far. He says, Mark, my allegiance is to the prequels, to George
it's
Lucas.
100% true.
My allegiance is to the prequels, to George Lucas.
If you're not with the sequels, then you're my enemy.
Yeah. If you're not with the prequels, then you're my enemy.
great.
Only a prequelist speaks in absolute. No, no. Only a sequelist speaks in
It's
absolutes.
true. They do speak in absolutes. Do you find that a lot of them are just like The Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie, and it's like they know they're gonna
Yeah.
trigger people. Like, why do you just leave it, dude? Just
A lot of the sequel, like, look, Jeremy Johns said this once to me, and he's so right that it's almost like the sequels, the prequels. I'm sorry, the prequels, the original trilogy, and the sequels. You can always find people that love two of them. It's very rare to find people that love all three of them.
it's true.
Like
Yeah.
it could be any two, right? Like it could be prequels and sequels, or original trilogy and sequels, original trilogy and prequels.
Yeah.
It's rare that you're gonna get somebody that loves all three phases of them.
Does anyone love all three phases of the mirror? Type 1 if you do. And that's cool.
That's totally cool.
Yeah. I'd love to be one of those people. Apparently they're bringing in Keanu Reeves. That'd be cool. Parth says, the other one I really want is a Sherlock and Doctor Who crossover. Look forward to these streams every day. Can't wait for Fantasy Theory channel. Mark, Theory, hope you all doing great. Thank you, buddy. Hope you're doing great too,
Thanks,
man.
bud.
Appreciate it,
Thanks,
bro.
bud.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the new channel as well. Once I get some more time. Please make a Once Upon a Theory with Ryan and JJ in Revenge of the Sith. We got a
Like
ton of
dueling.
ones. This is
It's
great.
it's actually a great idea.
Yeah, I thought about it a long time ago, but there'd be so many butthurt people, man. You can't make jokes anymore, so it's like I just stay out of it. But all join members will enjoy a new episode of Once Upon a Theory season finale, which hopefully will start a whole new thing. I'm thinking for season 2.
So, Mr. Memes is on fire. He's like, I don't like the sequels. It's coarse, rough, and irritating, and gets.
It's true. That's how I feel about it too. You know, I really liked episode 7 though. I thought it was fun.
I think 7 is the best one.
Yeah.
I mean, Rogue One is the best one, and then 7, then Poly Solo, then Last Jedi, and then Rise of Skywalker. That's how it goes for me, anyway.
I put Rise of Skywalker after 7.
Before Rogue One.
No, so okay, so it goes if we're gonna Jesus, so all of them. So okay, so we got 3. I alternate on 6 and 5 depending on my mood that day because they're so balanced. So we go 3, 6, 5, 1, 4, 2.
So you put Phantom ahead of Star Wars.
Yeah.
You put Phantom ahead of New Hope.
They're really tied. I mean, I always change my numbers, but
Yeah.
yeah, sure, why not? I was a kid, you know. It was the first Star Wars movie I went to. It's just a little more meaningful for me in that sense. But also, Episode 4 is what got me into Star Wars. I watched it with my dad, but I remember
Yeah.
The Phantom Menace more, watching it the first time than I do, or you know, getting hyped for it because I was 9 years old, versus Episode 4, which I watched at home. I think I was only 6, so yeah. Um, I don't know. The original trilogy will always hold a special place in my heart, and it's like it's hard to even number them because they're so special to me. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, okay. Now that I'm older, I've seen them all. I have this number here. So then after that, we got the sequels and originals, or the prequels and originals. Then it goes Rogue One, then Episode 7, Solo, Episode 9, and I don't count Episode 8 as to exist.
So you and I had the same exact list pretty much, with the exception of
8.
I say Last Jedi is a little better than
Yeah.
Rise of
And like
Skywalker.
people will be like, "Oh, like you're not funny." It's like, dude, I'm really not trying to be funny. Like I legitimately don't see Episode 8 as a continuation of the Star Wars story. I really, really don't. I just think it was made by guys, Sam Witwer said, that didn't do his Star Wars homework and didn't know who these characters are. And it just, it's heartbreaking to say that, but hey, paint me as the villain if you want, but you know what? It just doesn't exist in my world. And it helps me sleep at night. So Star Wars Theory, I'd like to
Wish
talk to you at some day, and some people, like a guy named River, don't want me to talk to you. I may have done some bad things. I know I can work something out. JD Voices, I have no clue what the hell you're talking about. Uh, I have absolutely
it's
no
weird.
clue. It sounds weird. So, all the best, man. Like, yeah. Disney, I killed them all, but not just the sequels, but the prequels and originals too. Mr. Meme's
Is
on
that
a
Mr.
roll,
Memes?
dude. Yeah.
Mr. Memes on it
Yeah,
today.
I think Solo is the most underrated Star Wars. Yeah, maybe. Oh, maybe JD Voices is the guy who sent death threats to me and my fiance. Is that the same guy? I don't know, dude. I don't know who you are, but it's a weird message. But yeah, all good, man. Just leave me alone. Can you do a live show making fun of the holiday special while you watch it? No, probably not. What do you think
You
is the
know,
most important part of the Skywalker saga for both of you guys? 1 to 6.
yeah, but he's asking about a scene, right?
Nah, all of it. 1 to 6.
I think for me, it's when Luke turns Vader.
Yeah, the ending.
Yeah, that to me, I think is one of the coolest things I've ever seen up on the big screen.
Hmm.
You know, when Luke turns Vader, I think that's when George gives us the lesson. You
Craig
know
says,
that it's
"Can
never too
can
late.
you please stop showing the merch, please? Don't watch my videos. You realize all the things I do cost money, right? How do you want me to make that money? Very simple. Do you feel they do a series about Qui-Gon's former apprentice, Kratos?
What is that, dude?
I don't know, man. My freaking Spotify started playing. Out of the blue.
I don't know Kratos. I
But
don't
that
know
was
that
a good
storyline.
answer, though. That was dope. Yeah, I was listening to Goddamn by Tyga. It's a good song.
Oh,
Nope, I'm not that guy, but I did do something else. All right, man, you're starting to freak me out, dude. What'd you do? What'd you do, dude? Do you want me to call the police on you, too?
oh,
Do you feel
God.
they do a series about Qui-Gon's former apprentice, Xanatos? Oh, yeah, that weirdo. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't know that character.
Hey, JD Voices, you should send me an email with what you did. Because now I'm going to involve the authorities on you, so. The remaining fans shall be hunted down and defeated. No, dude, if there are fans of the sequels, that's all good, dude. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
care.
all good. It's all Star Wars. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like football. You know, it's like I have a favorite football team, and my team sometimes has terrible seasons.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're not my favorite football team,
Mm.
and it's okay if I criticize them for being 1-15 or 2-14 or whatever. Um, you may not like how the team is winning and losing, but they're still your team, you know. And that's how I feel about Star Wars. Like I might not love everything Star Wars does, but I love Star Wars,
Right.
and I'd rather there be bad Star Wars than no Star Wars at all, personally.
McClunky says, I love the sequels and your show, but feel very alienated when you trash on the sequels. Well, I'm sorry, McClunky. I don't mean to trash on the sequels. I just speak my mind, you know? And
McClunky.
yeah, that's all it is at the end of the day. Just speak my mind, you know? So, and I've said it, I make sure I say it every time. It's like, I don't mind if you like the sequels. It doesn't matter to me, but, I just want to be able to uh, say things. JD Voices says JK. Yeah, dude, that doesn't. No, man, it's already over. It's over for you, baby. I'm investigating you already. Don't. Hey, mods, I want you to investigate this JD Voices guy, all right? Go to his channel right now and give me all the info and send it to my email. Lando C says, oh, dude, thanks for the cool emoji, man. Appreciate that. But yeah, McClunky, like, look, I got nothing against people who like the sequels. I think it's cool. I think it's fine. But at the same time, it's my opinion, right? So just like you have your own, you shouldn't feel alienated. That's maybe someone else that's talking for you. Like, you shouldn't feel like you're alienated on the channel here because I don't make you feel that way.
McClunky.
Mike Hill, would you do a viewing of Spaceballs? Yeah, that'd be fun. Kathleen Kennedy is Palpatine. She's done a lot of good for movies, you know. She's done a lot of good, but
She's a master, dude.
yeah. But with Star
You
Wars,
can't tell the story.
I don't think she's done a great job really. So
You can't tell the story of Star Wars without. I mean, you can't tell the story of Hollywood without talking about Kathleen Kennedy.
yeah,
It's impossible.
yeah,
She is one of the most influential film producers in the history of the art form,
yeah,
uh, and that's why she did all the great movies that she did. I mean, she is an absolute master. But she lost her creative North Star, and that was named George Lucas, and she never replaced him with somebody else.
yeah,
It was creative, like it was creative leaders by commission, by committee, I should say, and commission, and it just never worked out, in my opinion. But I'm with you, man. Like, if you love the new Star Wars, awesome. Let's have debates about it. Let's talk about it. It's all Star Wars, man. We're all talking about space wizards.
yeah,
You know, that's it. At the end of the day, we're all talking fantasy.
yeah,
And hopefully, we're all still talking about the fundamental underlying principles of the franchise, which is about growing up and understanding that the growing up stage of your life should never end. You should always have that yearning to learn new things and expand your horizons.
yeah.
And to me, that's awesome.
Yeah, look, there's such a huge fandom out there for Star Wars, and look, I've said it a million times. I don't like the sequels. I liked Episode 7, and that's it. But at the same time, I'm not preaching for anyone who doesn't like the sequels to go and hate or bash or make those who do like the sequels to feel
Not at
any
all.
less or lower than you for disliking them or whatever. Or you're not a true Star Wars fan if you like the sequels. Dude, we're all Star Wars fans, and it doesn't matter what episodes you like. I think that's just bantering and trying to be elitist for no reason. You can like whatever you want to like, and you're still considered a Star Wars fan or whatever. But for me, I didn't like this just as you may have liked it. So it's the same thing.
Yeah, man. So look, we're running at 70 minutes. Today was fun, man.
It was good.
I
Flew by.
appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having the discussion with us. And I think theory brings up a very important point, and the fans, you guys, the listeners, bring up a very important point. We're not here to bash anything.
Hmm.
We have opinions, but it's okay to have opinions. It's okay to have different points of views, but it's more important that those different points of views lead to discussions, and sometimes those point of views can change or be altered. But if they're not, that's okay too. It's like the dialogue and the discourse is what matters. And people, we all love the Dolphins. I'm joking that Star Wars, but we can all be fans of a team and still not like the personnel moves they're making.
Yeah, it's true. With that said, thank you guys for joining the podcast. We will see you next week, and I will see you guys on Thursday, where we will do a watch party for episode 4 for A New Hope. And hope to see you there at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you guys. Appreciate you all. Thank you for the super chats and the messages and all the love. Had a great conversation with Mark. So until next time, remember, rise, my friends.
My boy.